history reading. Also, this title card informs me about the real King Arthur, and this is the mid-2000s, so I'm positive this is going to be a fucking gritty-ass reboot. Damn it. Just ride proudly. The smoke machines will help, and then we'll cut to a static map to illustrate your war dominance.
By 300 AD.
Jesus, movie, are you still narrating? Why did I have to read all that bullshit early on if you were going to then narrate for 5 fucking minutes? Also, isn't this a King Arthur story? How much text on screen and narration-based backstory do we fucking need?
The only Sarmatian soldiers left alive were members of the decimated but legendary cavalry. These warriors were incorporated into the Roman military. Better they had died that day.
Gotta agree with the narration here, because if they had died, we'd be spared this boring fucking movie.
Lancelot! Lancelot!
Of all the ways to let me know this child character on a horse was Lancelot, having a little girl run screaming his name is not high on the list of things I would have chosen. Why not just have his knowing father, who is already imparting wisdom, also drop the name? Or wait until he's older, after I've already grown to like the character. Also, this King Arthur movie starts off with, of course, a Lancelot origin story.
Don't be afraid. I will return.
Lancelot cribs from Jesus in his farewell speech. I know these poor bastards are poor and all, but why the hell did they decide to settle their community here? There are no crops around, no cattle in sight, and they're at the bottom of an unprotected valley. No wonder they have to give all their to the Romans.
Our post was Britain, or at least the southern half.
I don't know about you, motherfuckers, but I definitely started watching this Arthurian tale to get some of that sweet, sweet geographical exposition.
For the land was divided by a 73-mile wall, built 3 centuries before us.
And yet Rome expected Mexico to pay for it.
We made our way and reported to our Roman commander in Britain, Artorius, or Arthur.
This sentence alone annoys me enough to go ahead and give this movie its roll credits in right here and now.
It's beautiful! Mother!
Mom does the classic briefly distract yourself while I teleport myself several yards away trick that's helpful anytime your kid needs help on homework.
If you so choose, they may someday be yours to lead, just as your father before you.
Wait, if you so choose. He's already locked in by rule of the Roman edict that he's going to lead these assholes, so not much of a choice there.
It has always fallen to a few to sacrifice for the good of many.
Man, he totally butchered that Wrath of Khan quote.
The world isn't a perfect place, but perhaps people like you, Arthur, can make it so.
Okay, good talk. Now get out of here and Arthur. Viscount Sir Loras looks sad. And before you waste as much time Googling as I did, no, that is not the actor who plays Sir Loras on Game of Thrones, despite his identicalness. Weird, bro. Movie's less than 7 minutes in and has already exceeded its swooping shots of English Hills budget. Whoa, how long was that horse ride? You're telling me this movie's 140 minutes, but couldn't spend a little time showing Arthur taking command of his knights and training them for 15 years? This is almost as bad as the Gospels fast-forwarding Jesus' life to 30. Almost. Okay, so first off, this arrow was shot from an impossible angle, since the woods that the woads are hiding in is off to the side, which means the archer is definitely not Lee Harvey Oswald. Second, no one sees this arrow flying straight at the guard until he's dead. Third, why do the woads use the element of surprise to kill this one fucking guy? If they have this impressive aim, why not take out at least 4 or 5 of these fuckers? What are these dickheads trying to accomplish here, besides finally giving us an action set piece? This is a fucking convoy going eventually to Rome, with a well-known cavalry nearby and within eyesight. Also, this movie totally stole more Braveheart than I originally thought it did. This is basically King Arthur, William Wallace origins. Firing arrows from the trees? Is this Robin Hood? Jesus, this King Arthur movie can't figure out which previous movie it wants to rip off the most. Clive Owen looks like he just spent a boatload of money at the Renaissance Fair, then tied his bedsheet around his neck for good measure. Damn, how far away were they when they started charging? If it takes this fucking long, how did they even see the Romans under attack? Premature celebration. Look, it may surprise you, but I've never been in a medieval battle. Having said that, this seems like the worst way to medieval battle. Damn, right in the sciatic nerve. He'll live, but he's definitely going to need one of those ergonomic desk chairs later in life. I'd just like to point out that I have no idea what they're fighting about. This is brutal and a bit over-edited, but kind of cool. But I just can't connect to brutal deaths when I have no context. Luckily for Tristan, these warriors attack one at a time, allowing him to dispatch them with a Chinese sword that he knows how to perfectly use, even though he lives in southern England. How did the arrow even get through the f***ing wood? Earlier they were barely scratching it. These northern warrior buttholes definitely have some impossible arrows.
Save your prayers, boy. Your God doesn't live here.
Religiosism. Goddamn movie color correct much? Look at that f***ing lush-ass way too green grass.
Bishop Germanus, I see your military skills are still of use to you.
And why would a bishop have military skills? Movie doesn't give a f*** about your questions.
Who leads them?
He's called Merlin. A dark magician, some say.
Merlin is leading England's native army? This ain't no f***ing King Arthur story. This is some fan fiction bull rewriting of fake history.
I have been in this life longer than the other.
Well, they all have, so Gawain's really just jerking his own chain for some extra screen time here. Also, expositional horse riding.
Beautiful Sarmatian woman.
Beautiful Sarmatian woman. Why do you think we left in the first place?
That's Salmacist. So Tristan is a world-class archer, an expert with a Chinese sword, and an accomplished falconer? Jesus, I thought the only thing interesting about this character was that he fell in love with Sophia Miles. Also, the movie has to combine several knights' abilities to provide us with the exceptional weirdo that can do anything cliché that's been used in any ensemble action movie ever.
I want peace, Lancelot. I've had enough.
Okay, I can buy that Arthur's battle-weary and all that, but according to this movie, he's in his mid-20s, and there can't have been that much fighting, considering they would have been training until they were at least in their late teens. This seems like movies trying to cram in some I'm too old for this dialogue, even though King Arthur's not played by Danny Glover. Also, this King Arthur story has Arthur and Lancelot already buddies, in the Roman army, with Arthur tired of war, even though England's army commanded by f***ing Merlin threatens. My point is, why the f*** did you even call this a King Arthur story?
Where have you been?
Oh, that's such passion.
Bors is understandably happy to see his wife, but how did she not know where he'd been? It's not like they were out hitting whorehouses and they were heading to get discharged.
A round table. What sort of evil is this?
Look, it's not like there were no other round tables in all of the Roman Empire, right? It's peculiar for a group of knights, I guess, but this overreaction is some bullshit. Also, they already have the round table. What is this? The screenwriter f***ing hates the King Arthur legend, I can tell you that.
So you just leave the land to the woad? I risked my life for nothing.
Well, no, you were working to gain your freedom, and you were hoping the Romans would get the f*** out of there one day. So, even though there's an invading horde of Saxons and Woads, this ultimately works in your favor, dude.
Gentlemen, your discharge papers.
Hang on, there are only 6 papers here, but there are 7 knights, including Arthur. Even though he's the commander, he's also getting discharged, so what the f*** is up with that?
You are to travel north to rescue the family of Marius Honorius, in particular with Marius' son, Alecto.
You know what I love best about Arthurian legend? Remembering not only the regular names of characters, but also the Roman versions.
Alecto is the Pope's favorite godchild and pupil.
Well, what the hell is he doing in northern Britain then?
Will you defy the Pope, Arthur? Rome? God himself.
Since you said you're abandoning his homeland of Britain, I'm guessing yes, he will defy hard, thereby creating enough conflict to create a movie you will go on to call King Arthur, even though it bears little resemblance to the lore.
Fulfill this mission, and your men will receive their discharge.
Medieval Expendables.
Arthur!
Knights, brothers in arms,
Arthur's real legendary ability is his epic buzzkill.
we must leave on a final mission for Rome before our freedom can be granted.
Band of brothers must do one last job before retiring cliché.
Why do you always talk to God and not to me?
Well, in theory, and I'm just spitballing here, but God is a deity, able to control events on Earth, whereas you are, in theory, just a soldier with a possible crush on Arthur.
How many times in battle have we snatched victory from the jaws of defeat?
Great question! Can we see those times instead of watching 30 minutes of backstory on the expansion of the f***ing Roman Empire?
If it be this one, burn me and cast my ashes to a strong east wind.
Cremation-shadowing. Whose job is it to light all the candles in this basement room so important people can have important conversations? And how much does that guy hate his life? The true difference between this and Game of Thrones is how obviously everything beyond these walking dudes is CGI in this shot. In Game of Thrones, I can never tell. Listen, anytime you see Till Schweiger in a movie, you know there's some evil shit about to go down. If you see Till Schweiger with a shaved head, a fur coat, and a braided goatee, we're gonna get into some next level shit. Also, someone snuck their Captain America shield on set.
You hold your tongue, or I'll cut it out.
Movie goes way overboard trying to convince me the Saxons have the same kind of infighting Arthur's crew has. I know this is the central conflict of the movie, so the knights have to go alone, but if the mission were so important to the Pope, why wouldn't he at least send some Roman soldiers to help Arthur out? While this silhouette shot of horse riding looks cool, just remember those are all stunt people paid a fraction of the salary of the actors they're pretending to be right now.
Why should I trust you? You're a traitor to your own people.
He is? Don't think I've seen him before. And if I have seen him before, it's on this movie for having so many damn black-haired soldier guys.
A very high-ranking family lived there. They are of great importance to Rome.
But Germanus already knew they were going to be abducted, which was the whole reason for this mission. Marius and his brood is just hanging out in the Great Wall waiting to be invaded by the f***ing Saxons.
Whoa, they're tracking us.
Where?
Everywhere.
Arthur, brilliant military tactician that he is, had no idea that the people whose forest he's invading were tracking him. Unfortunately for Arthur, his army happens upon the Woads, just as they were putting together a kick-ass new God's Eye craft. The Saxon tree warriors are shooting arrows with long barbed wire attachments, which seems at least 300 years ahead of its time, as a concept and an actuality. I guess director Antoine Fuqua liked the random "you helped me earlier in the movie so I won't kill you" ex machina he used in Training Day so much he wanted to trot that baby out one more time.
Why would they not attack?
Merlin doesn't want us dead.
He just wants to scare us real bad, you see? Hang on. An extremely important family to the Pope is living in hostile territory, lightly guarded by Romans. And they keep the door to their front wall wide the f*** open. Is the Pope actually trying to get this kid killed?
Are you from Rome?
From hell.
Damn, dude, Cold Mountain wasn't that bad. I know Excalibur is a badass sword and everything, but we see nothing in this movie that indicates it's magical. But Arthur cuts this loose from his iron chains in one swipe.
Those of you who are able should gather your things and begin to move south towards Hadrian's Wall. Those unable shall come with us.
This entire mission was about getting in and out with the Pope-friendly family. But Arthur sees a village, and now they're going to drag some fools along? There are villages like this everywhere. Look, I know Arthur's noble and wants to take care of people, but he hasn't given a flying about the poor this entire movie. Phew, I'm glad they included my favorite King Arthur detail, snow.
They have flanked us to the east. They're coming from the south, trying to cut off our escape. They'll be here before nightfall.
In addition to his falconing powers, Tristan also has the ability of teleportation, considering he's mapped out the entirety of the Saxons' directional convergence.
How many?
An entire army.
Hilariously unspecific. Estimate is hilariously unspecific.
What is this?
God damn it, suddenly Arthur goes from being Arthur to a social justice warrior just because he saw some poor people pouring, and an already dull movie slows to a fucking crawl.
Arthur, we have no time.
The same words were said to director Antoine Fuqua during the filming of this scene and were similarly ignored.
In nomine Dei, Patris Omnipotentis.
But seriously, the Saxons horde is right on their heels. I know Arthur wants to save everyone, but he's basically saying "F*** you" to the rest of the town while he explores this fucking dungeon.
I will set foot in this holy place.
I guess so much for getting everyone to safety.
You must not fear me.
Look, you rescue an imprisoned kid, and then you tell him this, all while being a super huge, intimidating fellow? What gives? Aw man, they left a perfectly good Keira Knightley down here.
His arm is broken, and his family?
Strangely enough, they're doing quite well.
She's a woad.
Guinevere is a woad, which is loosely translated as complicated love interest who shows up halfway through the film.
Refuse to do the task God has set for them.
Do you mean they refuse to be your serfs?
We interrupt this gripping Arthurian tale to bring you a study on medieval economics. Well, sorry. We interrupt this gripping Arthurian... Damn it, sorry. We interrupt this...
Is this Rome's quest or Arthur's?
Of course it's fucking Arthur's. Once he saw Guinevere and his woad started growing, that was on.
Brave boy.
I know everybody on this island has a woad on the side.
Some of your fingers are out of place. I have to push them back.
At least two of the highly trained knights that should be keeping watch for the incoming Saxons are on this wagon playing doctor.
Someone who goes by the name of Arturius.
It's Arthur.
One of the many strengths of the Saxon people is their ability to solve complex riddles like this. Thanks for the Carriage Rider's POV, movie that utterly hates me. King Arthur movie had the same avian CGI budget as Birdemic.
This is heaven for me.
I don't believe in heaven.
Jesus Christ, at this point I'm rooting for Til Schweiger, or Stellan Skarsgård, or the Bishop, or any f***ing buddy who actually does something in this movie. Apparently all it takes is a nice sponge bath to wash all that pale Britishness off your face. Arthur's mom clearly attended the Prometheus school of backing away from things.
Arthur, let loose your sword!
Yeah, because the whole Lady of the Lake or Sword in the Stone myths were so f***ing lame, let's have Arthur yank Excalibur out of his dead father's grave.
Kill him now!
Your hands seem to be better.
Everyone is extremely casual about Guinevere killing one of the people the Pope specifically asked to be saved. I mean, even if Arthur succeeds and gets back to Rome, he pissed off the Pope.
What my father believed, so Rome believes.
What, that some men are born to be slaves? No, that isn't true.
But that's the entire premise of the knight's backstory. Didn't Arthur listen to the narration at the beginning of his own f***ing movie? Why are they walking so slowly on the ice? I mean, they're out there on a frozen lake, so if it cracks, they're f***ed anyway. Might as well scoot along with some urgency, right?
Hold the rein! Hold the reins!
Even when this movie should be actioning, it's more interested in people shouting dialogue.
Prepare for combat!
But make sure to stretch first. It's been a long f***ing time since we've done anything in this movie.
Kill him!
Saxon archers have clearly been taught how to aim by medieval stormtroopers. So the ice just stopped breaking then? It was a brief bout of excitement and now we're back to contemplative stares? This battle is an extremely obvious metaphor for this movie. The movie has no time to show what the Saxons did after the ice broke, but has a spare 20 seconds for wide-angle equestrian porn. You know, the rescue mission really wasn't that bad. If they hadn't picked up all those strangers, Arthur, his knights, and Marius' family would have made it back to the wall easily. And even with the strangers, they only lost one knight after a heroic suicidal gesture. So what was everyone bitching about before?
His arm is broken.
Lucan!
You boy, stop!
So his broken arm is magically healed after a long journey in bitter cold with no treatment available?
Goodbye, old friend.
Don't feel too bad. At least Dagonet doesn't have to make it through the rest of this movie, which has almost a whole f***ing hour left.
What are you afraid of, Arthur?
I don't know, but it's definitely not long pauses and sweeping shots of horseback riding. Look, Guinevere is a woad, right? One of the sworn enemies of the Roman army, but she's allowed to walk around the still Roman compound with impunity? Thankfully, the Saxons waited for Arthur to properly apply his guy liner before attacking.
Artorius!
Medieval see ya. Also, come on, why do we need a Han Solo moment for all the remaining knights? You're saying not one of these f***ers would just stick around and fight, even out of habit? Oh yeah, remember that super dangerous woad army we were supposed to be worried about for the first quarter of this movie? But there was that one scene where Merlin was like, we're cool now that the Romans are gone, and then Keira Knightley almost f***ed Arthur, so they're not dangerous anymore, except against the evil Stellan Skarsgård's army? Thank God they're here. Antoine Fuqua prefers his Guinevere as a bloodthirsty, painted Lilu-like savage in a leather bikini top that somehow leads an armed battalion. Thank you very much. Even Stellan Skarsgård looks like he's bored with this movie. And that dude white-knuckled it through Deep Blue Sea.
What are you fighting for?
I fight for a cause beyond Rome's or your understanding.
And I'm still trying to figure it out myself, since Guinevere told me yesterday that I should be fighting for Britain or something. And she's really hot.
Prepare the men for battle.
But they're standing right there, all lined up and shit. Are they not already prepared?
Steady.
Off movie. It takes the goddamn horses to convince these assholes to return and help Arthur. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about Hugh Dancy. His role is so small, he should just be called Sir Not Appearing in This Film.
The lights are demons. That is the gate to hell.
Rather than gain very important first-hand information from his own soldier, let's put that f***er down for having the balls to spout hyperbole. I wish I had any clue where we are on this battlefield, or how the battle is going, or what relation Guinevere is to Arthur and the knights, or who this random beardo is that's gonna die a horrible death. Important characters lock eyes and ready for one-on-one fighting as the battle rages around them cliché. Also, why are we supposed to care here? Serdic and Tristan have never even met before, so this sequence only exists to build some suspense before Tristan inevitably dies, and gives Arthur even more of a rage boner. I guess these two have a history that raises the stakes here. You know, because they looked at each other for that 1 second during the ice thing where nobody really did anything. Lanza Lex Machina. Man, Merlin hasn't done shit in the whole battle. Can he shoot an arrow or pick up a sword or magic something? Damn, what's Arthur doing with dude's head? I guess that rage boner had to be dealt with.
All Britons will be united in one common cause.
To consistently f*** with Scotland.
Have I made myself clear, boys?
Lancelot! We're knights of the round table, we dance whenever we're able. We do routines, we call the scenes, the footwork impeccable.
You may not truly the knights of legend. Perhaps some will survive, if it is God's will.
So that's it? What, we some kind of suicide squad?
As long as my heart beats, I rule.
I rule.
Arthur!
I'm Ripley. It's nice to meet you.
What is it, your period? No caps.
Run away! Run away! Run away!
Malika says, Malika mesmeripedy.
A day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not this day.